Stalin became the dictator of USSR in 1928. Through fear and power, he positively and negatively impacted Russia and its people. He is known worldwide as a cruel, ruthless, and paranoid individual. He envisioned a modernized country. Therefore, his focus was on making up the gap between Russia's current state and the other advanced countries.
The communist belief of no private ownership drove the land to be shared between peasants in what was called a kolkhoz. More than half of the peasant families worked on collectivized farms not because they wanted to, but in order to survive. As a result of the government seizing so much, the peasants didn't work as hard or not at all. What was the point in working hard and giving it all away, leaving their families starving? The kulaks were the better off peasants who owned their own farms with livestock and machinery. Rather than handing their property over to the government, they would burn their own land and kill their animals in protest. For defying the government, they were sent to march to concentration camps or were deported to the north. The workers were benefited with pensions and free medical care. Children received free schooling, so illiteracy rates dropped. Hard workers were given high wages so they could afford decent homes and had access to private stores. Houses were overcrowded in the cities, clothing production was low, and food was scarce.
Stalin had high control and power in the heavy industry. Being so far behind in economy, Stalin had high expectations for his targets. They focused on coal, iron, oil, and steel. Millions of people suffered in Stalin's purges: brutality, persecution, execution, and forced labor. Despite the harm, schools were built and Russia became a modern industrial country. Stalin needed a strong Red Army supplied with food and weapons in order to win the civil war and impose Russia. Stalin gathered control of the Communist Party, although he did not care about international communism. He just wanted to make Russia strong.
Stalin terrorized people into silence and passive obedience. The purge of Stalin's Red Army resulted in a myriad of officer deaths in order to consolidate his power. In the night, millions were arrested, executed, or sent to labor camps. Stalin used imprisonment and murder to any opposition to enforce obedience and discipline. Innocent men confessed to crimes to save their families from torture. Stalin created the OGPU, a secret police to implement the Gulag detention system of forced labor. Because of its intense combination of endemic violence, harsh climate, hard labor, and unsanitary conditions, death rates were extremely high in these camps. The infamous Holodomor caused up to 7.5 million Ukrainians to starve to death as Stalin deprived them of food for disobedience. His terror famine to kill by starvation eliminated the Ukrainian independence movement, as Stalin and his followers believed that they must suffer and pay for resisting his collectivization. Long hours were forced upon workers to meet Stalin's unrealistic quotas. If one failed, they'd be tracked down by OGPU and blamed for undermining Stalin. Stalin was a high authority, yet still insecure. For example, he ordered the execution of a guard who removed his loud boots so that the noise wouldn't wake Stalin from the roof. The kindness, however, made Stalin paranoid. He always thought that someone was plotting to overthrow him. With Stalin in power, his people were forced to be in favor of him because the consequences of rebelling against him would cost their life.
Stop time for a second. What's a cutlass out? We cut the